and welcome to the Magickal Witchy World TV. I am Star Ravenhawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen, visiting from a spot down in Texas.
Well, it's great to be back here tonight. Happy Friday to everyone. And now on with the show.
On with the show.
It's a magical, witchy world. It's a magical, witchy world.
Yay! Welcome, Caroline Tully.
Welcome. Great to have you on the show tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. How's my sound?
You sound fabulous. You sound great.
Yes,
you sound great. No, awesome. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. As we like to do for every show, we want to introduce you to everyone watching live or on playback. So I'd like to go through your bio first. All right. So Caroline Tully is a pagan and witch who is also an archaeologist. She has many areas of interest, including ancient Mediterranean religions, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Thelema, and contemporary paganisms, particularly witchcraft and pagan reconstructionism. Caroline is an expert on tree worship in the Bronze Age, Aegean, Levant, Egypt, and Cyprus, and has strong interests in the environmental humanities, nature, landscape, animism, ecology, and ecofeminism.
Nice.
So much going on.
I love the topics that you are majoring in. I love it.
That you awesome. Exactly. That
I love history like this. Yeah. Okay. So we have been so much looking forward to this conversation with you. And I know that I kind of hit up Caroline because she is on Christian Spectral. Is it Spectral? I forgot.
Evidence, is it?
No. We're doing the Spectral show in October.
Yes.
Live online. And I was like, oh, these have some interesting people. It's great to, interview other people from around the world. And so I thought, this would be so great. Where are you from right now?
I'm right now in Melbourne, Australia. So that's where I live.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I've been on WitchCon a few times, and of course, the first time this year on Spectral Evidence because it hasn't happened before. Yeah,
right,
so basically, we're coming into spring because we're on the upside down side of the earth. So basically, I tend to have to do a lot of talking to people, international people, because the bigger pagan scene is kind of outside Australia, although there is a pagan scene in Australia as well.
Yes. Right. Yes. That's awesome. Okay. So and I know what you say that you're a pagan and a witch. But what I would like to hear is, how many of us over the years, when we start out, we don't know exactly what we are, or we call ourselves, someone searching, or a baby witch, or whatever it is you want to call yourself. Many of us come up with different names that we call ourselves, and we go through time of where we evolve, and then we say, okay, this is what I know I am now. So if you can give us a short span of that arc of what you called yourself, not names that other people called you or titles, but what you have called yourself in terms of, this is what I am, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I use the term witch as a kind of a general term meaning magic worker. And if I want to be specific, I will say Thelemic witch. And why am I saying that? Because I came across witchcraft and magic and paganism when I met this guy I met him in end of 83. In 1984, we got together, and he was into ceremonial magic, but he had been a witch before that, but he'd gone on to ceremonial magic, because often guys, they're like, oh, witchcraft's not intellectual enough for me. I need to do the very sciencey sort of stuff.
Right.
And he had this big bookshelf. I wasn't really interested. I didn't even know about that this was a thing. And he had this bookshelf, and I just started looking in the bookshelf, and I started looking at these books, and I'm like, what's this? And these books, all sorts of different books, ranging from witchcraft to ceremonial magic to sort of shamanism. I just sort of looked, what is this? What is this system that promises that if we do these certain ritual activities or understand these certain sometimes secret concepts, that we'll be able to get these, I'm not saying supernatural abilities, but we'll be able to tap into these forces that help us to be more effective in the world. But of course, because that's such a big topic, you can go down many tangents in that broad topic of occultism. But anyway, how did I come to be what I'm calling myself now, which is a modern pagan witch, I suppose? So this guy, so he started training me in what he thought was a magical curriculum, which is a perfectly fine curriculum. And I was with him for about 5 years. I've worked with what I used to tend to do is I would find people that knew more than me about the topic, and I would hang out with them, and I would pick their brain, and I'd go, oh, but this, if you do this, is this going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Or how do you do this? And sometimes they didn't know the answer. Sometimes they wouldn't answer me. And I thought, oh, they want me to work it out myself, but maybe they didn't know the answer. Who knows? So basically, my magical training has been mainly with the intensive training has been mainly with like single male teachers, although I did sort of discover I've been involved in various groups and sometimes as an initiate of various groups. And so I really do tend to use the word witch quite generally, and I'm not thinking so much. I'm not a Wiccan. I'm not a Wiccan initiate, although I have hung out with a lot of Wiccans. I know tons of Wiccans, and I, go to Wiccan events and things like that. So I tend to look at. I'm really interested in the history of witchcraft. So I look at, witch trial, witchcraft, the negative portrayals of witches, ancient, witches from mythology and things like that. And I just try and learn interesting stuff from all those resources, whether that's living people that I know or books and things like that. It is a bit of a general term for me. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's excellent, though.
So basically, you didn't call yourself anything else other than a pagan or a witch, and then so there you are now.
Yeah, I've pretty much always called myself a witch since I first got into it.
Sounds great.
Because one of the reasons was I didn't even know there was a difference in different types of magical practitioner until the person that first introduced me told me about them. And at one stage he suggested I should buy Starhook's book, The Spiral Dance, and he goes, oh, you might find this useful. And so that's when I started to sort of be able to differentiate between the ceremonial magic that he was really much more interested in and the pagan, sort of the pagan witchcraft, which comes from ceremonial magic, but is slightly different.
Right.
Well,
that takes us down a question. I know you've covered a fair amount of the work that you did as you started on this path, but I'm curious, was there anything in you that said, you're looking through his bookshelf and you're seeing all these books, what was it where you said, this could be for me, this could be something I really relate to? How did that come about? So basically, what brought you to that understanding, if you will?
Well, I think I did come from a religious background in the first place. So my family is Catholic, and they were like practicing Catholic. So I was used to going to church and that sort of thing. When looking, I think I just like the whole package of there's the magical aspect. So there's sort of an intellectual pursuit of studying things like astrology or alchemy or the history of magic and things like that.
Mhm.
And then there's the pagan aspect, which is very landscape oriented and fit the body and women in priestly. I'm not sure. What was the point when I just went, yeah, this is for me? I'm just trying to remember. I think it was it kind of happened over, it happened kind of over a year with him, just as I learnt more and more about it. I think the thing was, I was just really curious. I thought, there's this big thing here, this thing called magic. What is it? And why is there so much stuff there? And I don't know anything about it. I need to know about it. So I just wanted to know what it was. And but we were also very into the 1960s as well. Like we really fetishized 60s music, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. We used to wear paisley clothes. It was the 80s. It was like the mid 80s, and there was a bit of a trend for 60s revival. So and we're interested in kind of the dark aspect of the 60s as well, like the Charles Manson. When the 60s went bad, the Manson family, we didn't want to be the Manson family, but in fact, I should say I met that guy from a group who called themselves the Family. But that was before I knew that. But they were nothing to do with the Mansons, and I didn't even know who the Mansons were back then. But maybe they did. Anyway, there is a bit of a, there's that sort of dark. I think people don't. Sorry, I'm going down this dark path now, but people don't really approve of Charles Manson. I think most people don't approve of him, but they do. They're kind of fascinated in the whole, the guru scene, various guru scenes in the 60s and power, and how people would give up their own sort of autonomy to follow a leader and that sort of thing. So we're just all interested in that. And it was only 20, like if you're in the mid 80s, that was only 20 years earlier. So that's quite weird. Because I was like 21 or something.
Right.
So it seemed to be this big topic of fascinating stuff, and I just wanted to know about it. And I didn't even realize that I liked doing that sort of thing. I didn't realize I liked studying.
You found your way there. That's interesting. Yeah, right on.
Curiosity.
Yeah, awesome. Before I ask you the next question, is there some way that we can put across like a website or something that we can put across the screen for you? Because we usually kind of run that website info there for people or whatever.
Well, I am all over social media. I've got 2 Facebook pages, 1 Instagram page, but I have a blog. But my blog is a little bit clunky because it's Blogger, and I've never kind of made it beautiful to look at.
Blogger is kind of hard.
But the content is good. So that's called Necropolis Now, which is NECROPOLIS Now, Necropolis Now. It's easy to find. So that's, and I've got an academia page, which is basically the page where I post all my like university-oriented articles and stuff.
Right. So we'll do the
Necropolis Now. Necropolis Now.
Yeah.
And what is it?
What is it? What? AU or .com or?
It's
no worries.
Sorry. Necropolis Now. I think it's just at Blogger or something. It's Necropolis Now. It's quite easy to find. If you just Google Necropolis Now blog, it usually comes up.
All right, sounds good. All right, so the next question I wanted to ask you is, because you brought up a few things of where you said why you kind of stuck with being a witch, but you've exposed to many different things. So from your point of view, what does it mean to be a witch? Not anybody else's point of view, but what you believe it is.
Okay, I believe there's broadly 2 aspects. There's the inner, I'm going to say, it's a bit of an unfashionable concept at the moment, but power. There's a bit of a trend at the moment to be, it's saying, you know, witchcraft's all about being the weakest and the most vulnerable and the most, you know, but no, that's not what witchcraft is. That's something else. Witchcraft is about power, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So it's about, but not power over others, effectiveness. So when I say power, I mean it's a tool to help you be effective. But also it has, in my opinion, for me, it also has a mystical aspect where I'm trying to relate to the universe and go, what are you, you big weird universe? What are, you know, what is the earth? What is the universe? So it's totally mystical. And I'm often, you know, and also because I'm, you know, a thelemic witch. So thelema is very
Yes.
celestial. Thelema is about space, about the sun, about willpower. So yeah, I think if witchcraft is a technique to, or a set of available techniques to try and do what you're trying to do. It helps you do what you want to do. And it's got this connection to which we could call the religious connection, which is basically the connection to, we'll call them the gods. But in Thelema, I think the gods are really more, although they're anthropomorphic gods, they're kind of celestial phenomena as well. But you could say that about lots of pagan gods, I suppose. Or, you know, so yeah, so basically it's the me trying to live in the world and me trying to relate to the wider universe and try and, you know, work out, can the universe help me? Does the universe care? What is the universe? It's so weird because I'm quite interested in astronomy. I've always been interested in astronomy. So, yeah, and I think and the environmental aspect and the actual physical real world aspect is one of the really good points of modern paganism, because it's very much in the world, in the body. Although I think we've all got a bit stuck on social media since COVID, but I think we're coming back out now.
Yes, thankfully. Tell us more about how you have, or how you incorporate your magic, your magical practice into your daily life, into your daily living.
So that will range from things like there's the marking of the seasonal changing of the seasons, which I may or may not do ritual for. I may do something, and it just depends. There's me trying to achieve things. So I don't necessarily have, a lot of people have a sort of a habitual practice of that, where they do something like at certain times all the time. I don't do that. I kind of resist being told what to do in that way. Even with seasonal festivals, I'm like, do I have to do this? Do I have to? I'm like, unless I feel like it, I don't really see why I have to do anything. So say I'm trying to achieve something, I might do a ritual, or I might sometimes feel that, sometimes things just happen because you want them to. And I think if you've been doing magic for a long time, sometimes even just planning the ritual, I've found, you're going, I really want to do this. I'm going to write this ritual and stuff like that. But sometimes I've found just leading up to the bit, I've just been taking notes, or I've been thinking about it. Sometimes the thing will happen or start to happen. I haven't actually done the ritual. And I'm like, whatever. It doesn't really matter whether something happens because you did a ritual or because you didn't do a ritual. The point is the thing is happening. But that can also be a bit scary, because you're like, this is happening and I didn't really. But again, sometimes things are so subtle. You're like, is that a result of magic, or was that just going to happen anyway? If it happens, if it's something I want, great. I don't really need to question it. If it's something I don't want, I do need to question it. I go, well, what the hell did I do? Or what circumstances have occurred that have meant that this thing that I didn't want to happen has happened? So a lot of my practice is about, and how I got into magic in the first place, I got into it believing, or being told, or under the impression that it was a technique to change things, not so much a religion. I found out about the religion of, the pagan religion later, where, there's seasonal rituals that you do 8 times a year, and there's full moons and you do them 13 times a year or whatever. I don't do them 13 times a year. I do them if I feel like it. And I'll go on. I'm sorry, I'm just going on this
that's
rant,
okay.
but like for example, and I'll have some gods, like sometimes I'll have a period where I'm very into a particular god or goddess. One brain, I can't do everything, so sometimes I have the next goddess, and then maybe I can go back to that, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to explore, and I only have so much time and ability to actually do it. So a lot of the stuff I do is new. Like I don't usually repeat a ritual I've done. I do if it's like a spur, maybe if it's a more of a religious ritual, but if it's a magical ritual that's trying to achieve something, I don't usually do it more than once. Although I could, because you could experiment and see, you could try and experiment and go, well, what happens if I do this 10 times or something? It depends. Depends what kind of ritual it is as well. Because like I know someone who does repeating rituals, but he's trying to achieve a particular thing, which
So
is
the
not
work
the
is
thing that I'm
done
trying to achieve.
Awesome.
That work is done
Okay.
specifically for a goal, with a goal in mind, and
Yeah,
that's important to know.
Yeah, like an outside goal, but say it's a self-development goal, then I might repeat it. Say a particular ritual that was to try and make me different or increase knowledge or openness to the universe or whatever I was trying to do, I might repeat that. So, but then I'd classify that as more in the religious zone, because it's kind of self-development again. I don't know. I think I'm not using the terms like magic and religion very strictly, probably a bit vaguely. Anyway,
but that's part. It's more like asking, how is magic part of your lifestyle? Today, like in whatever you do in a simple way. But you kind of went there and told us a little bit of that, so that's fine. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what's become important to you right now.
Right now, lots of things. Well, there's good things and bad things. So important. Well, I mean, I'm going to have to spruik an exhibition that I'm involved in. That's important. But on a wider scale, what's important is what the hell is happening with the world right now, because it seems to be going a little extreme. So I'm a little concerned about that. That's important, but it's very unpleasant. So, yeah, I'm interested in that. But let's say, so when you say important, do you mean what am I really into right now?
No, not events or
what?
anything like that, because that's other questions we have for you, but more like what's important that you're doing right now that you feel maybe would help in general, or or would like to see happen or something like that. What's important?
Well, I tend to be a little self-obsessed with what I think is important. So I'm like, what is important to me is the things that I'm interested in and trying to get them done. So I've just been working on this exhibition with the State Library of Victoria, and it's got quite a magical component. It's called Creative Acts, and one of the artists who I've been dealing with is Barry William Hale, who's quite a well-known Australian occult artist. And the exhibition is opened. It's been open for it's opened on the 14th of August. And what I'm interested in doing, so while the State Library has its own programming about how they want to promote the exhibition and what they want to do with the artists or the curators, me and Barry have our own plans about what we're going to do and how we're going to take advantage of the existence of this exhibition, which is quite big, and how we're going to use it to further our own interests in magic and to publicise our interest in magic. Because basically in Australia, I don't know if it's like a post-COVID thing, but the pagan scene and the magical scene, it's practically disappeared. It's very boring here now. I don't know where anybody is, and me and Barry just want to kind of invigorate
Bring things
the
back.
scene a bit more and get some stuff
Yeah.
happening.
That's
Get some
fabulous.
So
interesting.
that's there you go. That's something
That's
that's very
ve-
important to bring people back because there's a
exactly.
few places around the world people are having a hard time getting people back because no matter what people say, they get tired of being on Zoom or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, they're so used to it now that they kind of went right back to there. So
Yes. And but that's a bit important piece, the notion, the
yeah,
work that you and Barry are doing, because what
yeah,
it speaks to actually is our next question, which is the work or what you're doing within your community. What are you doing, or what are some of the things that are happening in community, or how are you working with community right now?
mm,
And it sounds as though this
Well,
exhibition is a big part of it.
yeah,
yeah. Well, the exhibition. So far I only know about 2 pagans who have actually gone to it. Other people may have gone, but I don't know about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're trying to encourage people to come to that because just to sort of basically the exhibition is about it's about where do artists go in their minds
Mm.
to bring in creative material. So do they go to memory? Do they go to um, a spiritual
Yeah.
realm? Do they astral travel? Do they go to like what in psychology is just called the unconscious? Where do they go in their minds or out beyond their minds to bring in this material? So I'm very interested in promoting the importance of what we can generally call the imagination,
Mhm.
but we could call it the unconscious or the creative brain or whatever. I'm presenting. So next week we have the Australian Wiccan Conference, which
Ah.
this year is online.
Mhm.
It went online and it was a public, not public, it was a big
In
physical
person.
event for
Mhm.
like, since the mid 80s. And then during COVID, it went online. Then there was, I think it's gone online and then physical, online, physical. And this year it's online again.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be talking about and doing a workshop on basically the importance of the imaginal realm in
Mhm.
witchcraft, like the idea of the night flight and the flying in the sky at night with
Yes.
the goddess Diana or the goddess Herodias,
Mhm.
or Ronald Hutton calls her Herodias, but I call her Herodias
Mhm.
anyway, who's the origin of Aradia,
Mhm.
Aradia, Gospel of the Witches. So I yeah, so I'm actually a little bit antisocial. I used to be very involved in organising events and stuff,
Mhm.
but I got really tired and
Mhm.
annoyed, so I had to
yeah,
stop. But I've always like still been. I mean, again, talking about being online, I've always been involved online, but um, that can you can only do so much with
Yeah.
that. So I'm just interested in encouraging the um the importance of the unconscious, because we think, oh, if we're not physically doing this thing, it doesn't really happen. But there's a big historical trajectory of what we could call shamanic witchcraft that occurs through what we could generally call astral traveling or a
Yeah.
shamanic type of flight that exists really well. You can say you leave your body, but we access it through the imagination and through visualization. So I
yeah.
want
Mhm.
to look
Oh,
at
Mhm.
that. And let's say, what else am I doing? Socially, or for the community. We don't have a community at the moment in
Yeah.
You're
Well,
Australia.
trying
that's
to
Oh,
revive it.
I don't know
That's
that's
a
what
where
good
you're
it is.
thing.
working on.
So that sounds like that's pretty much,
Yeah.
you're trying to revive the community in Australia where you are so that you can get back to where it was, kind
That's
of a thing,
huge.
pre-pandemic kind of a thing. So that's good.
Right.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so what would you like to see us as witches accomplish? And I know you don't want to try to go political, but you can go there too if you need to or whatever it is. But what is it that you think that you would like to see us as witches accomplish?
I would like to see everyone, witches and everyone else, but witches as leaders in reminding everyone about the environment and that we actually live in it, because that
Mhm.
got forgotten in COVID, at least in Australia, that's for
Mm,
sure. I would like to. I'd like witches. I'd like everyone to be very proud of their polytheistic different, pantheons of deities beyond the Christian or beyond the monotheistic, the big three, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, that rule the world. I'd like to, so lots of pride in polytheism, or whatever type of other theism that you have. Some people are duotheists, etc. What else with witches? Well, witchcraft just has a lot of. Witchcraft has a lot of really good points. It's got strong women. It's got men who are strong, but they don't have to be dominating like in lots of other sort of non-pagan. It's got its knowledge aspect. It's got personal. A lot of witchcraft seems to. There's tons of witchcraft on Instagram and stuff at the moment, and everyone has a little business, and that's fine. But I think people. I'm not seeing anyone doing anything else apart from that. So I think it'd be good if we went back to let's all go and have these nice outdoor events that we used to have. Up in like there's a mountain that we used to all go to. Well, people still go every Beltane, but and I'm sure some people are doing social outdoor activities. But in Melbourne, I do not know what is going on. And people might
know, just not much.
Maybe,
well, that's
go on.
I was going to say that goes back to the showing that you're having.
Yeah.
But it also speaks to this next question. So we understand that having pride in the practice, that your spiritual practice, is a big deal. So I think I really appreciate hearing that. Tell us about what projects you have coming up this year, because that also speaks to then how you can influence that community building and seeing the work that we are able to do right now. Tell us about the projects you're doing or that you have coming up or are thinking about doing this year.
Okay. Well,
or into early next year, because we're getting close to the end of this one.
Well, my passport's about to run out, so I've got to get that. But that's fix that. So basically, I've got 2 books coming out with Theon Publishing, which is a German publisher, but it's in English. So that's David Beth and Jessica Grote. I would. So one book is on basically that using your imagination in that historical witchcraft context where there's the night flight, the shamanic sort of witchcraft. One is on it's on how can contemporary pagans practice Minoan religion, and Minoan religion is the religion of the Bronze Age Cretans, from Crete. So what else have I got going on? I'm trying to remember. I'm going to work so much at my 2 jobs that I hardly have time to do anything. Basically, mainly what I do is write articles and things like that. And I'm just trying to think if I've got anything booked that's happening. I mean, there's nothing happening in Australia.
Well, you have the online conference.
Yeah,
that's part of the event. Well, that's part of the outside
next week.
event.
So so the Wiccan conference is next week, and then I'm just trying to think. So what is that? So that's September, and so that's spring equinox for us, where it's the autumn equinox for you. So September, October, November, December. I don't even know if I have anything happening. I did have a very busy year. I went to Greece, to Naxos, to an archaeological excavation.
Wow.
And I'm still kind of a little bit recovering from that rather dramatic event, because then I had to get straight back into the exhibition at the State Library. I had to get off the plane and practically, I had terrible jet lag, and just get back to work. And to tell the truth, with the exhibition, we're still actually a bit recovering from that as well, because although it opened practically a month ago, it was such a drama, and it's so kind of it's quite exposing, because we had to be secret about it for about 1.5 years, and then it suddenly opened and we're suddenly on show. And it's just a bit of a shock. So we're still recovering from that a bit. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing, I'm just at the beginning of trying to work out with Barry Howell what we are going to do to publicise the exhibition, but also to publicise his own work and my own work, because our
Yes.
personal magical work is kind of different. Although we both come
Gotcha.
from the OTO, because we were both OTO initiates in the
Mm,
90s, although
mhm.
he's of a much higher degree than me because he stayed for much longer and he was there before
Right,
me.
right.
So yeah, we're really just trying to work out what we are actually going to do. And in fact, we're actually doing that
Right.
today. Like we're actually we're going to do blog posts. So, again, back to online, we're doing blog posts explaining each of the cases in his section, which, like, for
Yes.
example, the magic case, what's this got to do with his artwork? Why are these things in this case? And yeah, like, for example, I'm thinking, because I'm so goddamn bored, I'm thinking maybe I should have salons, because salons are good. Because, social
Salads
media
are
is
very good.
yeah, social media is a bit like a salon, but it's not really that
It's not
great because
controlled because it's too
you're
much
it's
chaos. Chaotic.
yeah, like you need a proper you need something where everyone's really right there and you can see them rather than,
Yes.
oh, there's this big internet thing in the way. So I'm thinking about
Yeah, yeah.
salons and just things where we can all come together, because there's a lot of the venues in Melbourne. There used to be quite a lot of magical shops, and they shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. And
Yeah.
I was working at one for about 6 years as a tarot reader, and now that's closed too. So there's practically only one
Oh,
magic shop in the whole of Melbourne. And I don't necessarily think a magic shop is the best location unless they have a sort of a big sort of lounge area or
right.
sometimes they have workshop areas, but I'm thinking about salons where we can really get together and do stuff. We have pagans in the pub, but I don't even know if that's still going. We had it for years and years and years, but I don't know if we still
This
have it.
is this
Just
is good stuff
interesting stuff,
about
just really interesting
community.
stuff.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay. So, what events are you doing the rest of this year? Because I know of one that you're doing already, but because I think you're doing
Yeah,
spectral evidence, right?
so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm
Okay.
doing spectral evidence, and those conferences that Christian Day and Brian Kane put on,
Yeah.
they're really professionally run. Like the program that they use, and the person that facilitates, and the people she gets to help, it's really well run. It's probably the best online conference,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
most smooth online conference. So spectral evidence. So I'm going to be talking about. I'm calling my thing the pagan way of death. But what I'm looking at is I'm looking at death in Wicca. That's very briefly, and in the Wiccan Wheel of the Year. Then I'm going back into ancient Greece and looking at how did the ancient Greeks, what did they do when someone
Right.
died? Then I'm looking at the Eleusinian mysteries and, Persephone, goddess of death, married to Hades, Demeter's her mother. I'm looking at what those gods have to do with the Eleusinian mysteries. Yeah, basically and it
That sounds
depends
quite
if I've got any
interesting.
time. I might go on to something else. I might go on to like Inanna, the descent of Inanna, if I have time, but I don't know if I'll have time. So that's spectral evidence. Then for the Wiccan conference, I'm talking about, as I said before, that night flying thing, but actually it's got to do with the goddess
When is
Diana.
that one?
So
What
last
date is that one?
year, that is it's over the spring equinox weekend, so I think it's the 21st of, well, it's whatever the
September.
weekend is. It's next week, so 21st of. I'd have to get my diary. It's over there. I can't see
If
it.
it's next week, the
Basically
21st is Sunday. Is it a Sunday
so it's
conference?
basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday next
Okay.
week.
All right. Sounds
So
great.
19th,
So
20, and 21st. 19, 20,
Okay.
21st. So that's
yeah,
lovely.
Yeah.
and then, well,
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
for example, then we have Beltane, Australian Beltane, which is the next Sabbath after that. But usually a lot of people go to this mountain, which is in the country, sort of north from here, called Mount Franklin. But I don't know if I'm going to go because I don't have a car at the moment, because you kind of need a car. And if you go with someone else, then you're trapped You're trapped
Yes,
in
and
camps.
you're
I
there.
like to have my own
You're in
vehicle.
for the long
I like to
haul.
have my own vehicle.
I
Oh
mean,
my
I
goodness.
really.
I
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
get
yeah.
it. I totally get
So I
it.
may go to that. I don't know. I just don't know because I've been too busy
You've
doing
got
stuff to.
lots going
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on.
Well, for
Yeah.
spectral evidence, that's October 3rd to the 5th. And I believe you're there and a whole
Oh yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
other people, and that including myself. So I can't wait to see you there. Awesome. Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
fabulous. We cannot thank you enough for taking the time, Caroline, to be with us. What time is it actually where you are right now in Melbourne?
It is. It's Saturday and it is 1:45 p.m.
Wow.
See,
Ahead of time. Ahead of
it's
time.
Friday. You're right. You're living the next day. So we really appreciate you
Thank you
taking the
so much.
time. Thank you so much. And I'm sending a huge witches and wishes for the work that you're doing right now, for this exposition that you're doing right now, and also for the upcoming conferences. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for
Thanks.
joining us tonight.
And
And for
thanks for
everybody else,
inviting me and lovely to meet you. Hmm?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's a
It's wonderful to
pleasure.
have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Such a pleasure.
So,
Thank
well,
you so
I'll meet
much.
you in the flesh
For everyone else,
one day.
Yeah.
hopefully one
Yes,
day,
that'll be
yes.
nice.
Check out some of our shows that we have still available on our YouTube channel.
All right. So we are beginning tonight's horoscope for September 2025. Going down the zodiac signs. And tonight we'll begin with Leo because we stopped at Cancer last week. Okay. So we're going to do this for
Yes.
tonight. Okay. So Leo, a windfall is possible on the 7th. So, and make epic changes on the 24th. So ask yourself, where is that sweet spot between practical magic and passionate momentum?
Hmm.
This will be one of your most practical and productive months financially. Pay attention to that, Leo. Okay. On September 1st, Saturn retrograded back into Pisces and your deep feeling 8th house, remaining there until November 27th. Okay. Ideas turned profitable when Mercury kind of joined the sun in your money zone on the 2nd. And the sun then moved through Virgo and your stabilizing second house and will stay there until September 22nd. So all that time you have to kind of make some magic of monies, okay? The Virgo eclipse will be about your income and self-worth and those things you value most, focusing on budget, schedules, and household projects. So use that time to recover from Leo season and all of its attendant decadence. Okay. Meanwhile, glamorous Venus will strut through Leo until the 19th. This is a peak season for romance, so hang on to those summer loving vibes until the season's bitter end. Alas, you won't get to wiggle out of any emotional work that needs to be done. So sorry, you're going to have to do it. Old issues may have bubbled up around jealousy or how to fairly distribute shared resources. Uranus also retrograded in Gemini on September 6th, throwing a little unpredictability into your social life and group dynamics, and will stay there until November 7th, which may have reached a boiling point at lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. A windfall may have arrived around that lunar eclipse as well, okay? However, eclipses are wild cards. Your bounty could vanish as quickly as it came in, which is why when I do magic set around that time, the eclipses and everything, because it's that wild card, you will do magic in the sense of making it stay stabilized so it doesn't just come and go. Because that's what will happen to it. And then you'll be wondering, well, it came in, but then it kind of left really fast.
Where'd
Okay.
it go?
All right. So
And
communication
disappeared.
issues will resolve when Mercury tours your third house for a few weeks, beginning on the 18th. So expect communication to pick up, helping you find tactful ways to discuss sensitive matters, a boon if you want to heal relationships. Your ability to attract cash improves when Venus cozies up to the sun on the 19th, making it easier to bring money into your orbit. Additionally, a game changing solar eclipse on the 21st will reveal a new income stream and news about money making opportunities that could also arrive. Okay, so pay attention. This could be a better job or a side hustle. Act on it as soon as possible. Make sure that you align with people who share your values because on the 21st, the second in that rare pair of back to back Virgo new moon arrives, underscoring the importance of sticking to what you consider ethical. So, your ethical ways will have to pay out when it comes to that money streams that you're bringing in, okay? That will be a big deal. This will also make sure no more sweeping things go under the rug, okay? Because that's not going to help you financially. The 22nd puts Mars into your domestic sphere, giving you the itch to update your lair. Schedule late summer travels when the sun moves into the short trip section of your chart on the 22nd. A few last minute escapades before the weather gets cold and end the season on a joyful note. Home is where the heat is when fiery Mars dives into intense Scorpio on the 22nd as well. And family dynamics or deep rooted emotions might rise to the surface between now and November 4th, making this a powerful moment to address any lingering feelings and strengthen those foundations. If you need to make a major change, the Sun Pluto trine on the 24th will provide the will to move mountains. So, possibly turn a side hustle into a steady income or finally invest in the tools, training, or learn or the team that will bring your ideas to life. The key steady, intentional steps. Think less overnight sensation and more generational wealth. Okay. That
That's
is
a
a
big
very
deal.
amazing thing for Leo. Pay
Wealth.
attention, Leo.
Yes.
Okay.
Right on. Right on. All right, Virgo, make the most of your supercharged Virgo season until September 22nd. Happy birthday, Virgo. Your solar return your solar return wishes are especially charged up this year, and you're invited to make ambitious ones. You've got back-to-back Virgo new moons in your corner on August 23rd and September 21st. And this month, this month's is a catalyzing solar eclipse. With that kind of cosmic horsepower, you're equal parts vision and velocity, ready to launch big plans, claim your worth, and put your most magnetic self forward. So on September 1st, Virgo and Sirius Saturn retrograded in Pisces, and your committed relationship house, putting relationships to the test, assessing whether your partnerships, romantic or professional, will be built to last. So there were some questions, there were serious questioning about how strong those connections were. Saturn first entered Pisces on March 2023. But by May 2025, it advanced into Aries. Now it's back in Pisces for one last hurrah. Saturn in Pisces might call for a trial separation or even a long overdue goodbye, but the eclipse will reveal the right moves to make, and it will take discipline and maturity to pull it off. Saturn will retrograde then until November 27th, but will remain in Pisces through February 13th, 2026, when it won't return for another 30 years. That's a big deal. So the sun was joined by your ruler Mercury on the 2nd of September, an astrological duo that added sparkle to your presence. This is your season, which means it's glow up time. Expect positive attention, which is sure to level up your confidence. Mars added a seductive edge to your confidence, so don't be surprised if your assertiveness draws admirers as well as opportunities. And with go getter Mars in Libra and your financial sector until September 22nd, you could make some extra money while you're at it. And everybody can use a little extra money, right? The lunar eclipse on the 7th revealed pertinent information about relationships. Whatever you found out on that day may have brought permanent change that was for the best. May not have felt like it, but it was for the best. Avoid decisions on the 17th when Mercury opposes Saturn. Instead, wait until Mercury moves into your money zone on the 18th, the perfect transit for job interviews or long talks with your financial advisor. Venus transiting your sign from the 19th on will give you a personal boost in terms of feeling great, looking good, and making an impression on others. Love this, Virgo. Debut your new stylish look on the 21st solar eclipse and prepare to turn heads. Mars in Scorpio on the 21st powers up your thinking, making you feel you can move mountains. Between the looks and all that power, I think this is a great time come the 21st. The sun will be in your sign until September 21st, making you feel more like yourself and unstoppable. All right, Virgo. When the sun enters Libra in your second house, it will join Venus, ready to put your ambitions on increasing finances over the following 4 weeks. Use this final window to stress test your closest bonds. Do they hold up for the long haul? Or are there some weak spots that could use some fortifying? Get to work on those areas, those that need a little bit extra support. Since retrogrades often resurface the past, you could also find yourself revisiting an old relationship, whether that means settling a legal matter, offering a long overdue apology, or giving an old flame a second chance. The upside, a promising partnership that stalled before may circle back this time with better timing and better results. Approach it with patience and the willingness to nurture what could still grow into something lasting. Buying yourself time is the best move you can make right now. As the saying goes, only fools rush in.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Libra. A lot's going on for you because in the month of September, Virgo season until September 22nd is your license to chill, and Saturn returns to Pisces on the September 1st, and which help you get your life into shape. So on September 1st, structured Saturn took its final spin through Pisces, bringing rigor to your sixth house of health, organization, and daily systems. Saturn will continue to retrograde until November 27th, but it will remain in Pisces through February 13th, 2026. Then it won't return for another 30 years. Okay. It first entered this sign in March 2023, but this past May, Saturn moved on to Aries. Now it swings back for one last round of lessons and growth. Use this final cycle to really get your systems and self care in place. Demand quiet time to preserve your peace. I am telling you, you're going to need your peace, okay? Yeah. It's demand your
Yes.
bloody peace, okay? A health matter or a work project may require steady, no frills dedication. If you've slipped into caretaker mode or you've been over functioning for others, Saturn's backspin is your cue to set boundaries and insist that Team Libra carries its own weight. Mercury joined the Sun in your introspective zone on the 2nd, which led to long periods of me time. Usually a we person, so this may feel foreign, but it won't take long for you to find solace in solitude. On September 6th, Renegade Uranus turned retrograde in Gemini, which may have thrown a wrench into a few of your expansion plans. You may need to reschedule a trip or event for some time after November 7th. When the side spinning planet tucks into Taurus, roll with it because trying to force things will only create chaos. I'm telling you, and bring in a lot. Okay,
Mm.
so The lunar eclipse full moon in Pisces highlighted the mind body connection on the 7th and made self care a priority. Okay. If you had not started it, then it's time to start. The two eclipses this month supports that mission. Your inner wordsmith comes alive when Mercury moves into your sign on the 18th. And now you can find all the right words for impactful conversations or that novel you want to write. So, with your ruler Venus in Leo until the 19th, secret romantic dalliances will be possible when Venus sinks into your 12th house on the 19th. Well, as it goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Say, okay?
That's
Shocking
right.
revelations, okay, comes to light when the solar eclipse arrives with the new moon in Virgo on the 21st, helping you shed limiting beliefs and get a handle on addictive patterns that are blocking your joy, causing that aha moment, helping you to make a critical decision. You may decide to cut ties with people and situations that you have found to be toxic. Mars will roll into your money sector and will be there until the 22nd, which amplifies your ambition for cash. You'll work hard through November, leading to a latter a fatter bank account. Okay, prepare to toggle between feeling weird or wired, tired, and inspired. Befuddled, yeah, I know, but embrace the process. Okay, this don't fight it. The sun in your subterranean 12th house of rest, truth, and closure, and healing until September 22nd means it's your season. Kicking off Libra season kicks off um, uh, with the fall equinox, putting you back on the level ground your sign prefers, which could make you feel a bit foggy at moments and equally shine bright. So it's got you going back and forth there. Feisty Mars exits your sign the same day, taking some of the heat off of you. Focus on setting up comfortable routines that brings a sense of peace and security. Listen to your body. Also, be aware that you'll soak up other people's emotions and moods like a sponge around that time. So, protect yourself by limiting contact with draining people who demand constant attention and by taking breaks. Possibly do some restorative rituals, curl up with a novel, have a spa day, or let your dreams guide you toward clarity. Okay? The 12th house can also bring back the 12th house can also bring a quiet but powerful endings, helping you release ties or patterns that no longer serve you. In love, that might mean stepping back from situations that keep you guessing or savoring private moments with someone who feels like a safe harbor. As Virgo season winds down, your energy will build again, and the space you've created will make room for the connections and opportunities waiting in late September when Libra season arrives. Good times.
Mm-hmm. Wow, lots going
Yeah.
on there. This is a bit, it's, yeah. Well, let's jump into Scorpio. So, for Scorpio, romantic surprises arrive on the 7th or just arrived on the 7th, and you have the power. You have the power on the 22nd. So, starting September 1st, structured Saturn makes its final voyage through Pisces and your 5th house of romance, creativity, and self expression. This is your cue to step back from any situation steeped in drama or any endeavor that started to consume too much of your energy. Saturn began retrograde since July 13th. Now it's slipped back into Pisces for the rest of its backspin until November 27th. Then backspins in Pisces through February 13th, 2026. Then it won't return for another 30 years. Saturn first entered Pisces in March 2023, advanced into Aries on May 24th. It's now into Scorpio, its first visit since early 1999. Yeah. For the past couple years, you've earned important lessons about setting boundaries instead of rushing to follow your heart or letting your emotions get the better of you. But Saturn could have one more round of lessons in store that you won't want to miss, even if they feel tough when you go through them. The total lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th may have brought a stream of creative and romantic epiphanies. On September 7th, I think I was on the plane. There may have been milestone developments for your love life, random meeting with a new suitor, or the unexpected return of an ex. Unexpected return of an ex. You'll know what decisions to make when Mercury heads into your introspection sector on the 18th. The answers will be loud and clear and within you. Venus enters the social section of your chart on the 19th, which bodes well for your love life. On September 21st, a rare and potent second solar eclipse, Virgo new moon this year, could help you figure out what company to keep and the kind of community you want to build. Once Mercury skips into Virgo on the 22nd, your social calendar promises to be full. Your ruling planet, Mars, will also be in your sign on the 22nd. Mars, the ruling planet Mars, the old ruling planet Mars, because of course it's Pluto. But anyway, this transit will last until November 4th, putting pep in your step. Your willpower will be activated, helping you to push past obstacles and achieve every goal. Save those VIP slots on your calendar for artists, thought leaders, and people who push you farther than you'd go on your own. Yeah. On September 22nd, Libra season also begins, shifting the energy to your 12th house and of endings and introspection. So a reminder to keep yourself balanced with plenty of rest. Don't overdo it, no matter how tempting it may be. Not the time. From your social circle to social media, everyone wants a piece of your time. So wrap up loose ends, give yourself space to recharge, and let go of anything not serving you. The Virgo sun shines the spotlight into your 11th house of teamwork and technology on September 24th. Technology on September 22nd as well. While you're not typically a big social person, big groups person, I should say, Virgo season spotlights teamwork and tech. And I can attest to that. I am a Scorpio. I'm not a huge fan of massive groups. Not my thing. Use this month to polish your social profiles, connect with kindred spirits, and get your most inspired ideas in front of the right eyes. Off you go, Scorpio, in hot pursuit of whatever and whoever you're passionate about. So this is a big thing.
Yes.
It's a crazy month. And I have to say, y'all, I am not in my regular abode. As you can tell with this white wall behind me, I feel like I'm kind of in a police lineup or something. But, I also had to ask Christopher, my partner, Saru, to bring me my cards because they were in the other room. And he did so stealthily. I don't think you guys could hear him or the two dogs that came after. And he got it out. Amazing, but true. So anyway, that means it's time for
All right, lady. What do you think? What are we putting a card on tonight?
You know, it looked like several signs, and we have a lot going on, but several signs spoke about money and so I want to take a dive into the money situation because it looks as though people have opportunity to really, as they say, fatten that bank account. So let's look at the focus area. What do you have to focus on in order to increase your wealth? What do you have to focus on to increase your wealth right now?
All right. Oh my lordy.
Is it like that already?
Yeah.
What
So what do you got, girl?
I have the Page of Cups. Pages.
Okay.
I love my pages. So, and I do read my court cards as reflections of self. So I look at this and I say, okay, what do I need to focus on in order to increase my wealth? This is really asking me to pay attention to that part of me that is connected with my highest ideal of the things that I love and what bring me my greatest joy. So, in order for me really to increase my wealth right now, it's listening to, receiving the messages from, being inspired by those things that bring me my greatest joy. And that is the message I'm taking from this card.
Awesome. Okay.
Which one did you get?
I'm always getting pentacles whenever these things come up.
Oh my gosh. And you got the Ace of Pentacles.
The Ace of Pentacles. And look at how giant and shiny it is.
That is fabulous.
Okay. And to me, okay, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of outside and land and behind it. There's plants. I feel like I've got plant allies and all those things trying to tell me this is the land I'm taking you to buy.
Yes.
And all these different things. But I also feel like it's telling me to get my ducks in a row with the money. To that it has a lot of help, but that this is the month that has a lot of money situations going on. I checked the Aries one and it's similar things too. And to me, it is very much saying get your ducks in a row with the money financially and all of that. Do certain things to pad certain things or to make it manifest as soon as possible, because I think it's something that I need to do as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So the fact that I love plant allies, and to me, the plants around it and behind it, the pentacle, it just makes me feel like, it's telling me where to go. It's calling me to what property to see and buy. So,
right on.
Yeah, so I'm like,
love it. I love it. It makes it sound as though the land is alive. It's full of life.
Yes, and I want it to be that way. I want it to call me as much as me calling it,
Right on.
This is awesome.
I read pages as the physical embodiment of the aces.
Okay.
So this would be the equivalent of the Ace of Cups.
Okay. All right.
In human form. So it's all about the heart center for me. It's all about that. Anyway, fabulous.
Yep. Okay. So next week, our guest will be Charity L. Bedell on September 19th. Yes. So I can't wait to have her join us.
Yeah.
And we would like to say thank you to everyone in the chat and to our guest, Caroline Tully. We wish to thank her so much for joining us. Again, she is in Australia and she's a day ahead of us. And so she made such a special effort to be with us tonight. So we wish to thank her so much. And
absolutely. I want to thank you all again. And please do like, subscribe, and share. Let us know about any guests you want us to, or any topics you want us to tackle in a panel. We haven't done a panel yet, and I know our calendar's kind of booked, but it's in our horizon. We're thinking ahead. So if you have a topic, let us know.
All right.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yes.
Have a great week.
Yes. Happy Friday, everyone. Take care.
Happy Friday.